welcome, everybody. Greetings. I don't know, but the summer's here, but it's kind of not yet. It's like there's stuff in the air. It's like we're all here. Thank you. And I'm not even on the right report. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's 4:01. First, we'll start with the approval of minutes. Has everyone read the minutes?
Yes.
Any changes? No. Okay.
I think we do a roll call.
Excuse me?
Roll call?
Okay.
Yeah, for the meeting. Commissioner Ramirez, not present.
I need to put that on.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Godino,
Here.
and Commissioner Carey.
Here.
Thank you.
Could we put that on the agenda? Just
Sure.
Thanks. Because I tend to not. Okay. Okay. Back to the approval of minutes.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to move the minutes. from
I
last
second.
month.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All three of us. Okay, we have a public comment period. Do we have any?
We have not received any
Slips.
public comments for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Presentations. We're going to revisit ratifying Jason Davies' proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The reason for this is we did kind of bring that on as an extra item last month's meeting. So this is just for the record, if we could get a motion to adopt the resolution, and it'll just go in the record today.
Okay. We get a motion?
I'll make a motion
And I second.
to ratify.
Okay. Do we need to vote on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner,
Yeah.
sorry,
Go ahead.
Ramirez. I was not here, sorry. Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Godino,
Aye.
and Commissioner Carey.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. You don't need me to read it again? Okay, just checking. Okay, regular business, our 2025 leisure needs and public 5-year art assessment.
Mr. Smitherman will be giving that report.
Well, good.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We did send out the report to you previously for your review. Did offer you a chance to comment, edit, suggest. Receiving none. We are at the near end. Oh, I apologize. Yes, Ms. Carey, we did get your comments. Those were sent to Art Thatcher, who is our consultant in charge on this project, who is on the line with us today and will be walking through not so much a presentation, but going through the guide and able to answer any further questions that you may have. And then what we're looking for after the discussion is a vote to move this forward to City Council for approval. Art, are you available? He didn't have an audio, Shannon.
Art, can you hear us? Testing.
I see him speaking, but I don't hear him.
He doesn't have a microphone.
I don't have a mouse. You know.
Let me check one more time. Let me see if we. Transfer one. Transfer two. Can we try again? Oh,
Okay.
there he is. Can you hear me? Yes.
Thanks for joining us, Art.
Thanks for having me.
So the commissioners have reviewed. We sent you just a couple of little notes and just give them the opportunity if you want to review the plan as well as be available for any questions.
Sure. Yep. I'm happy to do that. I have a presentation if you want, but if you've already reviewed it, I'm just happy to,
Yeah.
do whatever you would like to do.
Yeah, can we go through the presentation?
Yes. Is it up? Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. Well, first, thank you for the opportunity to meet with you tonight and go through this presentation of the process and how we got to the master plan. Yeah. So we'll do a quick introduction, talk about a little bit about the purpose and the goals, and then our approach. Go over our public engagement, talk a little bit about the recreation program assessment, and then go over the goals and objectives. And then also we'll go into the public art action plan as well. So the purpose of the leisure needs assessment and the public art master plan was to update the 2019 plans, to make sure that we conducted a robust public engagement, and to update the goals, objectives, and the action steps from the 2019 plan based on our public engagement. So just quickly, your mission statement, to enrich the lives of the residents of Santa Maria and the surrounding area through the provision of quality recreation and park facilities, programs, and services, while being intuitive and responsive to the leisure needs of the customer. And so the plan was really divided into 5 different stages. The data collection, we came and did a kickoff meeting, did tour of the facilities, developed a work plan, and began looking at the demographics of the community and the surrounding areas. Next, we did engagement. We developed a strategy. We developed an interactive website that was called Social Pinpoint, which had a survey on it, had a mapping tool, a budgeting exercise, and then an ideas wall. We engaged the staff, knowing that they were very important to the outcome and especially for the implementation of the plan, held focus group meetings, did one-on-one leadership interviews, and then provided a summary of the engagement that we had heard to the staff. Then we, as we looked at the analysis side of things at phase 3, we did a recreation program analysis. We had a workbook that the staff filled out, and we looked at your core programs. We looked at the life cycle of your programs, and then looked at who your primary audience is for your programs. And then we also did a trends analysis looking nationally as well as kind of in the state. And then we did a review of the public art master plan. Then we moved into the findings or the action phase of that. Did a findings presentation with the staff of everything that we'd heard, began to develop the action plan and the implementation strategies, and then drafted the leisure needs assessment update, and then also drafted the public art master plan update. Finally, we're kind of in the final stages, doing presentations, and we're here tonight doing the presentation of the draft with you. And then we'll be back next month to do the final leisure needs assessment update and the final parks public art master plan update to the city council for adoption. So our schedule, our timeline, we started back in September, and we did our initial planning, then did in the October, December timeframe, did our analysis, engagement, internal, and developed our engagement plan. We were here at the beginning of the year, launched our Social Pinpoint site, as well as conducted our in-person engagement. And then in the April-May timeframe, we did the assessment, we did the findings, we analyzed, we pulled all of the data together and began drafting the plan, and then presented the full plan in early June, end of May, early June, and then we're kind of here with the draft and then the final plan. So our original schedule was to bring it for adoption in August, and we are right on schedule. So just kind of quickly, kind of looking at the demographics, they help to drive some of the, some of our recommendations and those things. So kind of looking at your population change over the next 5 years, 25 to 30, you can see that both the city as well as Santa Barbara County and San Luis Obispo County are all really kind of scheduled to drop in population slightly. And if you look at the bottom graph, the expected age growth in 2029, you can see that in Santa Maria specifically, that there's a decrease in your youth population. That's the 0 to 19 of about 2,100 youth kind of over the next 5 years, where the others are showing minimal growth, less than 1% growth over that same period. But you can see the largest portion of your population is that youth population, the 0 to 19, followed by your adults, 35 to 54, and then your young adults, 20 to 34, and then your older adults, 55 to 74, and then your seniors at 75. So we also looked at, using Esri, we looked at local recreation trends and compared those to the state of California. So as we looked at, and Esri, when they do theirs, it's only adults, and we use the Sports and Fitness Association, their data to look at youth sports, and which I'll show you in a minute. But adult fitness activities, you can see walking, weightlifting, and swimming are really your top three, and you follow along a little less in the percentage numbers, but really in the same trends for the state as well as for you. So we look at adult sports. It's a little bit different. You can see basketball is your highest participation. That's a little bit higher than the state. Your second highest is golf, but that's significantly lower than the state average. And then soccer, you're above the state, and then you kind of follow along in the same lines with the others: tennis, basketball, volleyball, football, and pickleball. I'll tell you that 2024 was the first year that Esri really started tracking pickleball, and so I always got that question when I was presenting these: why don't you have pickleball on there? And so we have it on there now. And so this is from the sports and fitness industry. These are national participation trends. Excuse me. The last full year that they pulled those trends was 2023. We should be having the 2024 numbers kind of by the August timeframe. But anyway, so as you look at participation, these are in the millions, and then we look at 5-year growth. So 2018 to 2023. So as we look at those team sports, you see that the majority of them grew over that 5-year period. The only one that showed a decline of about 1% was lacrosse. And then you had minimal growth in baseball and in fast pitch softball. Your racket sports, you had good growth. Again, pickleball is tagged as the fastest growing sport in the country. And as far as sheer numbers, it is. But as you can see in participation, it still lags behind tennis by 10 million participants in 2023. So it's catching up, but it's going to take a while for them to get there. Running and jogging, showed a little bit of a decline. A lot of people are going to walking and also going to biking. And so, it showed a little bit of a decline. Skateboarding is up, a little over 7%, as well as trail running. And then you can see those outdoor activities, bicycling, on mountain biking and non-paved trails, and then bicycling on the road, almost little over 42 million participants in 2023 in road biking and on paved surfaces on your bike trails and those things, which is almost a 2% growth. And so our in-person engagement, we had 19 participants in our SWOT analysis, at 44 with our in-person focus groups, did 6 leadership interviews, and then we had 16 folks at our public workshop. And so just some of the key findings from the staff survey. We did the SWOT survey with them and then reviewed it, that you have a wide variety of offerings. They're diverse and inclusive. They need to be refreshed in some instances, and then programs are offered at a very low or no cost, so that is not a barrier to participation. 80% of the staff felt like the availability of programs, activities, and services was very important, which really kind of mirrors what the public also believes. And then your top highest priorities for program activities and services is community events, after-school programming, art programming, youth athletic leagues, and then education and life skills. So in our leadership interviews, a couple of the things we asked about: key issues in the community, and and so diversity. You're very diverse community, very high Hispanic population at right around 78%. Exposing youth to arts and cultures, not concentrating solely on athletics and those activities. The perception of the use of funding within the community, it's kind of an education piece of not fixing potholes, or fixing potholes versus installing public art. And so there's an education piece there that's addressed in the public art master plan. Access, making sure that we're reaching those people that currently are not being reached, communication with the public, and then providing services within the current budget. And so we asked about priorities over the next 5 years, and developing new programs, not just eliminating those that the existing programs, either for funding options or because of low participation. And we also address that in the program assessment. Securing appropriate funding, enhancing your public art, access again, addressing where those service gaps are, where there's limited access to recreation and recreation facilities. Dedicating enterprise funding and negotiating with developers to install public art to kind of help with that perception of funding piece. And then improving active recreation opportunities, and then aligning the growth with services within the community. And so those in-person focus groups, the public groups, we asked about additional programs and services that they'd like to see. The art, STEM, outdoor activities, and multi-generational engagement were the kind of the top ones. Visual and performing art classes, after-school programs, outdoor recreation and trips, and then additional special events. So we also asked about facilities and amenities that would help increase programs and service deliveries. So, there's an additional community center within walking distance, trying to close that gap for accessibility, expanding fields and gym space, additional and improved sports lighting to extend the playtime on existing courts and fields, specialized sports facilities, pickleball courts, futsal courts, and full-size basketball courts. As you remember, basketball was your #1 team sport. So, there's a demand there. Safe biking, walking, and hiking trails, and then comfort and convenience amenities, that for like shade, benches, restrooms, game tables, outdoor fitness, and then improved transportation. And so asked about priorities over the next 5 years, focusing on accessibility, safety, and community engagement, enhancing your staffing and your budget to go along with with growth and maintaining what you have, improving communication efforts, improving programming and services for youth, seniors, and diverse cultural groups, expanding transportation and improving walkability, modernizing your facilities and your parks, and then fostering community identity through large-scale cultural events, arts, and partnerships that strengthen the local pride and engagement. We've talked about improving communication a couple of times. I will tell you that your communication staff and the communication for this project have been outstanding, and I have not done of the 125 plus projects that I've done all over the country over the last 11 years. Communication always seems to be one that the public doesn't feel it feels it needs to be improved, and I think short of handing a piece of paper to individuals and then reading it to them, there's always going to be some area of improvement that the community is going to be looking for. So it's not speaking badly of your services. So we held a public workshop, and some of the things that we got through the workshop, again, new programs and activities, outdoor recreation, visual arts programs and installations, festivals, your community gardens, investing in culturally competent programming, and then fitness classes and special events were some of those new programs and activities, and then new spaces and amenities for future programming, walking paths, again, gymnasiums, indoor soccer, bike racks and lockers, a performing arts center, pickleball courts, all wheels park, which is kind of like a BMX park, but much more inclusive for not only bicycles, but for rollerblades, wheelchairs, and those things, and then natural spaces, preserving your natural spaces. And so I mentioned the interactive website, and this is the cover page of it on the left-hand side. That was the landing page. And you can see there was an introduction, the survey, our ideas wall, the budget prioritization, and then the interactive map. And so there were almost 2,800 site visits. There were 1,899 unique visitors, so unique people that came and visited the site. And of those, 1,382 of them made some sort of a contribution, whether that was the little over 1,000 responses to our survey, the 180, budget prioritizations, the ideas wall, and the interactive map. And so just some of the results. One of the things, the survey response, 3 highest priorities for programs, activities, and services. You can see they were all kind of in that, 2% of the respondents. So youth sports, adult activities, and teen activities, and active aging were really your top 4 in the survey responses. So asked about importance of availability, and like I said, like the staff, you can see that 74% said that it was either important or very important, with another 5% saying that it was somewhat important. So it is, again, very important to your that 18% neutral. You figure half of those would swing towards the important or the very important side. In the budgeting tool, we provided each participant with $100, and they could distribute that money based on these different activities. So expanding youth and teen programming, expanding events and cultural activities, building an outdoor entertainment venue, expanding adult programming, installing additional public art, and then expanding active living and senior 50-plus programming. And you can see that the greatest majority of those respondents put their money, almost $5,000, towards expanding youth and teen programs. And then you can see special events and cultural events came next, followed by the others. So still very supportive of all of those activities. So on the interactive map, you can see that there were 4 kind of bubbles that you could drop on the map. And so where you currently recreate, public art, where you'd like to see additional public art, where you see activity or opportunities to recreate, and then where would you like to see the outdoor entertainment venue. And so you can see, pretty good distribution, around, and, we provided a more detail of the outcome of where each of these were dropped. And so as we kind of look at, the social pinpoint, kind of some of those summary conclusions from the survey and the interaction is extensive community feedback. Almost 1,300 individuals contributed. Outdoor activities and teen programs, youth sports, are your highest participation. Adult activities and youth sports, highest priority. Most residents emphasize the importance of local recreation, and then strong support for expanding recreation programs across all ages, improving and modernizing your outdoor spaces, more diverse youth and teen programming, better aquatic access, and then your budget prioritization tool, highly virtual investment in your youth sports and programs, as well as the outdoor venue. And so, as I said, we did the recreation assessment. And so, the goal was to take a systematic program analysis and assessment of your existing programs, identifying those categories, and providing guidance to determine the most effective and efficient way to deliver those programs. And so some of the general observations and takeaways: managing operations and maintenance of the park, helping to ensure sustainable funding, pricing practices, addressing and updating, utilizing your facilities, addressing the health disparity and outcomes through program opportunities, providing more security at community facilities, and then maintaining a cutting-edge philosophy for recreation trends and innovation. And so some of those program opportunities that you have: expanding your preschool program, introducing dedicated programs for children under the age of 5, promoting inclusive events, looking at increasing the variety and accessibility of those events, balancing your offerings for teens, working to ensure that sufficient program and opportunities for teens exist, both indoor as well as outdoor activities, and then evaluate your program effectiveness regularly, make assessments of your program's impact and participation to help with meeting needs in the future. And so these are your core programs that we established with staff: your community activities, your active living, your adult aquatics, youth sports, adult sports, youth and teen, and then Los Flores Ranch and outdoor recreation. And so you can see that there's not a primary program area for preschool, that 5 and under. You've got a couple of those, the elementary, teens, kind of in your sports programs, as well as in your youth and teen programs, which included life skills, art, and those things. Same kind of for your adults. That adult programming 18 and over, as well as the adult sports. And then your seniors as a primary, that active living, and then also adult sports, secondary for those adults 18 plus. And then kind of, as you look at all the ages, those community activities, aquatics, and the Los Flores Ranch. So you can see pretty much 2 core areas for each one of the age groups. and then the 3 core areas for the community at large. And so these are kind of some of your kind of looking at those programs and, and how they are either, are they essential? Are they important? And is there value added? And you can see that that many of them, fall in that essential range. They are important to the community. And then there's some, definitely some community value added to a lot of those programs. And so also we looked at your cost recovery and your tiers, and looked at where those programs fell on the tier structure. Tier 1 is, and that's the kind of the bottom level here in our graph. That's the full community benefit. And so, the highest subsidy through the general fund, and then that top, the yellow being primary individual and very low or no subsidy within those. And so you can see there's a good range. The kind of the tier 3 is that kind of medium tier, that 50-50 subsidy and fee, and then the tier 4 a little bit higher, and then that, as we said, that tier 5 really almost no subsidy at all. So a good distribution of programs to the community at, as we said earlier, at no or low cost in those tier 1 and tier 2 levels. So very, very affordable opportunities for the community to participate in Parks and Recreation in your programs. And so so we developed a kind of goals and objectives for the programs. This is just a sample. The full list of action, the full action table is in the plan itself. And so we looked at those goals and those actions, and then kind of how to what kind of a time frame to address each one of those. So from all of that, we developed 4 goals for the project: continuing to improve your organizational efficiency, improving and enhancing program and service delivery, investing in current and new amenities to increase programming and service delivery, and then improving your financial sustainability. And so the goals that we developed, those objectives to address that improving organizational efficiency is maintaining your existing quality of service goals that are established, maintaining your existing quality of standards for your programs and services, staffing appropriately to meet the demands and maintain the established quality of service, increasing potential partnerships within the community, and then to maintain and keep current your department standard of operations and policies. So the second goal was to improve and enhance programming and service delivery. So, one of the top things that we heard was enhancing your special event programming, very popular with the community, high participation, continuing to grow programs and services accessible to all citizens of all abilities, continuing to address the recreational programming and activity needs of the community, exploring opportunities for non-traditional recreation, and serving as a primary gateway to citizens and visitors for that. So, as a lot of like sports equipment these days is very expensive, and especially if you're looking at skateboards and BMX bikes and some of those things. So, looking at having an opportunity, either working with a local vendor or something within the department to have an opportunity for the citizens to participate, and then utilizing technology to improve customer service and efficiency. And so that third, investing in the current infrastructure and addressing aging facilities, maintaining your existing facilities, parks, trails, and open space, adding indoor recreation space, upgrading your comfort, convenience, and customer service amenities, developing additional outdoor recreation facilities and amenities, and then addressing your current and future needs for athletic fields, either through new fields or through sports lighting, as we had talked about earlier, and then monitoring your ADA access at your parks, your trails, your beaches, and your facilities. And then the final goal was increasing your financial sustainability. So exploring those additional funding through the pursuit of grants, continuing your current cost recovery and revenue generation practices, and then partnering with other service providers where possible to develop programs and services and facilities to meet your demands. So this is an implementation table that we provided to the staff and went through kind of the, I'm not going to go over the whole thing with you, but it's a 12-step for implementation and kind of review and renew each year to make sure that that you're staying on track and implementing the master plan. And so we were also asked to update the public art master plan. And so through the survey and through our different engagement processes, we gathered community input. And so we asked about how familiar the community was with the public art in Santa Maria. And you can see that a smaller percentage are familiar with this. Only 39% are either very familiar or familiar, and then another 31% are somewhat familiar. So, that somewhat familiar is probably they notice it when they drive by and see it, but probably didn't realize that it was something that that the city was doing. So still, 70% or have some familiarity with your public art and your public art program. So to what degree would you support additional areas for display? You can see, a large percentage, we're supportive, and but this is where that, the discussion between fixing potholes and providing public work, it's probably 50-50 split between, those that are not supportive and those that are supportive, within the, I'm sorry, my math is bad. So 71% are supportive, and then a smaller percentage are not supportive within the city. And then we asked about what types you'd like to see. And so, you can see that the building murals are kind of the most popular, followed by other murals that you have done either in kiosks or, on your storm drains and those things, your utility art boxes, and then your sculpture installations. One of the things that I find interesting about your utility art box program is that in most communities that I've worked in, the utility art boxes are wraps, but your program is individually painted by the artist, which is very unique in the country. And so kind of what do you think the priority should be over the next 5 years? Enhancing your public art, dedicating part of the enterprise fund to public art, negotiating with developers to install public art, and then fostering the community identity through large-scale events, arts, and partnerships that strengthen your local pride and engagement in the community. And so these are the goals from the 2019 plan. And really, so I think the goals are all still good and applicable, and where it's kind of in the actions that we just discussed earlier, kind of is your kind of your marching orders or the update moving forward to the public art master plan. I think sticking with these 7 goals is is very inclusive, and the community is very encouraged by it. And so that's the kind of the Reader's Digest summary of the needs assessment and then the public art master plan. And I will I'll stop sharing so that and I'm happy to answer any questions or have any discussion with you about either one of the plans.
Thank you. Do we have questions? Who has a question?
I have some, I guess, if you call it suggested next steps, if you will. Thank you I did go over this presentation when Mr. Smitherman sent it, and thank you for the refresher, Art. So here's some few suggestions that I have. Review action items with realistic budget and staff resource constraints. Prepares a short community-friendly presentation with infographic summarizing key changes. Identify a quick win programs to launch in the next 12 to 24 months, if you will. Draft a marketing plan to relaunch low interest programs, unless we're phasing them out. And develop performance metrics for annual review so that we can have see a program impact, if it's impactful or if we need to phase it out or work on it. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you sure? Okay. You know, I know we're looking at the big picture, but I just have a question, something I don't understand. What would an example of non-traditional recreation be? Just
So non-traditional recreation is bouldering, rock climbing, futsal, which is very popular. Kind of when you think of traditional recreation, you think of the traditional ball sports: football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, even lacrosse kind of fall into that kind of traditional sports and recreation activities. It's those, BMX biking that are non-traditional, stand-up paddleboarding, those type things are kind of fall into that non-traditional category.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Cynthia, you have anything? Okay, I'll just throw it back out. Do we have any other comments we want to make, or?
No, thank you very much, Commissioner Lopez, for your suggestions. We'll look at those and definitely move forward with those suggestions. Thank you.
One of the next steps is going to be for having Art present this to the council. I think it's important that if you have thoughts that you want to include or have him include in the presentation, it would be good. Even on the Art, I don't know if you plan to use this same presentation at the council, but if you see anything, tweaks you'd like to maybe have him make in the presentation, this is the reason to present you with this kind of draft. Keeping in mind your individual council members that you represent here, also how might they want to hear the information, or how might they receive the information? Is there information that maybe they're expecting that we're not providing? These are the things that would be great feedback, between now and the time that we take this item to council. So,
Alex, I have a question. How early does the council receive will receive the presentation? How
what's our
early?
schedule? We're planning to go to the council August 5th. August 5th is the scheduled time. So if you can get with your council member before them and kind of say, hey, we had this.
So we can provide them with
Oh,
this?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
all.
you can say we had this
Thank
great presentation by Art and the program, and we're excited about, what the community is telling us. And, this is what we need to move forward on. And Dennis is available if there's questions from your council member that they need answered or more direction on. Thanks. Thank you, Art. Great presentation. It's always hard to get the numbers, but I think the graphs really help make the presentation easier to understand. And I think one of the things that I would suggest in the presentation is the focus certainly on the on the goals and the implementation plan. Because again, our big struggle, I think, is going to be our budget for the next year and years forward. And so if we can look at partnerships and focus on those, looking at our fees, which is another item on your agenda today, I think those are going to be important things to tackle as we are able to implement the plan.
Very good, thank you. And I'll work with Dennis and Cindy to, we can reduce some of the data slides, and so that we can spend a little bit more time and focus a little bit more on those goals and objectives.
I don't think we do. You know, let me just say, the art was so, like so big, and it's too bad. I know it has to be together, but it was kind of special, and it's too bad it can't be presented as, it's on its own merit. But I know that's not the way it works.
Well, I think, actually, kudos to Dennis for actually getting it included, because typically in past leisure assessments, that was not included. We went through, or I should say Dennis went through the struggle of developing the master plan with the committee input, and then bring it to the council with the funding component attached to it. The funding component, as you know, didn't get approved, but the master plan did, and I think he's done a great job rolling out art with no funding. Councilmember Soto's implementation of the $150,000 allocation 2 years ago is still benefiting us and the programs that you see out there, but that was a one-time item. And so we're doing the best we can. Dennis, again, has done a great job spending those dollars and getting us really nice public art projects done. So yes, I agree with you,
Yeah.
Commissioner. Something we could look at in the future, bringing it in as a separate item, but at least now it's going to get its attention at the council meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Is that it? We can move
I
on.
think that's it, yes.
Thank you, Art. Appreciate it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. See you in a month.
Thank you.
Next, we're moving on to discussion on recreation programs fees approval process.
Thank you, Commissioner. So as you know, at the last council meeting, the proposal was moved forward that the commission would be the body that would hear recommendations from the staff on program offerings and then fees for those programs. So in the past, any major changes or fee structures, we would have to go to the council on. The council did approve that recommendation. So Dennis is going to review with you kind of our idea on how that process might want to move forward. And then we'll have an opportunity to discuss it today a little bit, and then we'll bring it back to you later on for implementation. I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis, the idea will be that for our next program cycle, we would like to have this in place so that the fees can then be established and you can conduct your public hearings prior to the implementation of those programs.
Thank you. And I do have a lot of questions for you today, so be patient with me. As we go forward with this process, one of the ideas in developing fees and plans is really the structure on how the commission would look at implementing those. So we've developed a guide, a chart as for your review. You do not have this. We have a separate meeting with the budget committee scheduled here real soon to review this, but I'll go through with you. It's really staff-driven in the beginning, and the commission comes in and fine-tunes, and then we take to council for approval. So it looks, the staff will group the programs by priority choices. There's going to always be some outliers when we do that, but things specifically, we look at senior programs as a group or teen programs as a group, and really look at our fee structure, the pyramid, so to speak, and we would determine where those would fit in, and then we would have the commission get involved with that process. The Budget Committee would review, and then it would come back for a final approval to the entire commission, and then we would submit to council as a consent item or further review as they so see fit. So in the staff portion would include looking at our current fees and evaluating where we're at. They do have worksheets that show what our true cost is based on staff time, facility, equipment, and supplies, and so on and so forth. So we see a true cost of a program. It'll be up to the commission to decide which level of the pyramid those go in, looking at those fees, and then really deciding the rate in which the consumer would be charged. We talk about outlier programs, and those are going to be specifically for some programs that we do charge a small fee for. I'll give you a good example is our golf clinics. We have a partnership with Rancho Maria. It's a very popular program, but the attendance allowance is only about 20 individuals per clinic. As you can imagine, it's a hands-on sport, and we don't want golf clubs everywhere and golf balls. So we do charge a small fee. Actually, the fee is to help recoup some tiny bit of expense, but it's also to encourage people to attend once they've signed up. What we've found in the past is a lot of the times we'll get parents registering their child, and since there's no fee, if they miss, there's no real ramification to that. Unfortunately, what that does is it blocks out that availability for someone who can attend. So this last golf clinic, we had 20 registered, and we had 7 no-shows. So we're looking to combat that. That's with a $5 fee. So one of the ideas is to raise that to a $10 fee. It's not so much that we'll ever recuperate 100%. It's to guarantee that we'll be able to fill those spots. So those are kind of the outlier programs I'm talking about, or a highly individualized field trip. And field trips is mostly what I'm discussing here. A lot of the programs we do for teens are free or very low cost, but there's an occasion where we have a field trip that's going to have a higher price value, that the ticket cost or something may be a little higher, so we may have to put that a little bit more onto the families. As we've discussed a lot, we do have financial assistance dollars available through our partnership with Play Inc. We have a very lenient scale to make sure all those people that can attend, want to attend, can attend, regardless of the socioeconomic status. So those are the ideas that we had in the categories. When we meet as a budget committee, we'll go into more specifics on exactly how this will be broken down. We are looking to start this hopefully I don't think we'll be able to make the fall season for our next rec guide, but definitely winter. We'd like to get this in place and ready to go. Our fall season, believe it or not, is already being planned for. As far as we're concerned, summer programming is all set in stone, but we were talking about fall today and even early into winter already. So if we could schedule a meeting with the budget committee and really get into the fine tuning of this plan. But there are some questions I get to ask you as well. So, and maybe something to think about, not something you have to answer today. But we looked at the cost recovery and the pyramid. I just want to make sure that we're in agreement that it's a document that was fair. I know not everyone was able to be at that meeting. So if you could take a look at that again and make sure that those categories are really what we're interested in moving forward with. We talked a lot about which programs should be subsidized at a higher level. And from what I've heard at the last few council meetings, their priorities are still seniors and teens. And then moving forward, I talked about field trips, but are there any categories that you feel that we should be subsidizing more heavily or less heavily, whether they be those outlier programs or entire groups? Something to think about. And for the outreach, we definitely are going to want public input. So how would you recommend we go about acquiring that public input and and getting those that have a vested interest in our programs involved in helping us to determine the rates and what's fair and equitable as well.
Go ahead.
On the public outreach, I really, what I've noticed is that we need to get to the, if it's going to be through the school system or the district, the school district, it has to reach the students, and it has to reach the ones that actually are using the programs or want to use the programs, or they go to the Maldonado Youth Center or the field trips. Because I don't think it's actually reaching them. I really don't. Like when we were doing the leisure assessment, there were a lot of students that I've talked to because I'm with the FFA program and other programs within the high school, and they didn't even know about it. So I know we gave the information to the Bonita School District and the Santa Maria High School District, but then at some point it just trickles down and then it just doesn't reach the kids. So if it's either, back to school, or if it's, actual event where the kids are present, then we can actually probably slide in one of the announcements there directly to the youth. Parent-teacher meetings, directly into a parent-teacher meeting. If it's outside, it would be like the Friday, so any events that we have outdoors, try to have someone present to be able to announce and talk to the community directly. Because yes, flyers are not working, text messages or any type of online, look at this flyer, look at that flyer, it's not really working. So it's more direct with the community at large if they are present, like the rodeo that just happened recently. Right now the fair, whatever we can do to slide in any city survey or any city information that the city wants from the community, just try to include it with any event that people are present, because that's where they actually focus a little bit more than just check out the guide or check out the website or check out, So that's my 2 cents. And also include churches or any community gathering within their, any group, So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Could we add it into utility bills?
There is an option to add to utility bills, a small one, it's a third of a page flyer.
I have a comment.
Sorry, I have a comment on that one. I'm only saying it because I do property management, so there's utility bills. I get a ton of utility bills. So that doesn't really work. People don't really, they just want the bill. So even the envelopes are being thrown away, whatever envelope is included with the utility bill. So anything added to a bill just gets tossed. So I manage about 300 properties. So everybody just tosses everything else. So it would just be a waste to include it in the utility bill. I'm sorry. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you,
I have a
Commissioner. I do want to
comment.
reiterate what Art had stated, that communication is not a problem just with the city, it's industry-wide. It's interesting, we did a campaign for no longer street trees, but for city-regulated trees, and we would put door hangers on hundreds of doors. I think there was over 1,000 doors. And those people that don't see it are the ones that enter through the garage. Yeah. So yes, there's always a ton of options, and we're always interested in getting the word out there. And so please continue to send us the ideas. You'll see us at Concerts in the Park here starting soon. The fair has not been a successful turnout for us in the past. So we're constantly evaluating not only current marketing trends, but future marketing trends and how we're able to do that. There's issues with every different level of marketing we do and what we can and can't do. So we always appreciate the feedback. And if you're not here, if the students aren't hearing it, that means we need to relook at what we're spending money on. Because I know we spent a lot of money to send things out through Peach Jar, which is the system that the school district uses. And if it's stopping at the parents and not getting down to the kids, how do we do that? if we do a direct distribution to the school, I know the kids shove it in the bottom of their backpack and you never see it again. So it's trying to always look for new and trending ways to reach people. And we've seen that a lot through social media. You know, Facebook is no longer popular with teens. Instagram is, so we've seen an increase in our Instagram posts. We're going animated now, more fun. The one that I saw yesterday actually scared me because it started off with a firework. So yeah, always looking for new ideas. So please continue to share those. Thank you.
Dennis, I have a few comments. As far as a fee study, do you want to reach out to the public to ask them for feedback as far as the increase of fees? Is that the outreach you're asking for? Or is it just to pass down general information?
I think that's up to you as the budget committee and the commission to really decide how we would get public input. At some level, public input is going to be important as we move this forward to council. How the budget committee and the commission decide to do that are ways we can discuss. And we can come up with some more options during our budget meeting and then present those to the full commission at that time when we bring it back to the commission for approval.
Okay. And as far as you asked earlier, the top priorities are still teens and seniors. I'm a little biased because I do think that in addition to teens, you should bring it down to the 5-year-old and up, 5 to 12-year-old level as well, and have that sort of concentration because there's not much for that level.
I agree.
Age group, yeah.
There's very few nonprofits and community-based organizations that are working with the Age Group Discovery Museum. The YMCA Boys and Girls Club offers some programming, a lot of sports-related programming, and not a lot of programming outside of that sports area. So I will tell you when I stated about the teens and the seniors, that was council's priority. But we also did get a little bit backed up with the leisure needs assessment as far as those go. Doesn't mean we're not going to continue to have programs and classes. This group that's here won't let me get away with that. They do continue to push for not only for that school age 5 to 12, but definitely the 0 to 5. As you see, there's very, very little of that in the community as well. So while it's not going to be the most amount of programming we offer, we will continue to offer programs for the entire community.
And lastly, we agreed, the Budget Committee has agreed to meet once a month on Fridays at 10 a.m. with Mr. Smita. So if we can bring that back, that'd be amazing. That was the agreement we had, is to meet once a month, or if needed more, but on Fridays at 10 a.m. I think
that's great.
That made more sense.
Yeah, we were looking to host a special meeting just for this discussion, but I can definitely touch base with Neville, who still will be leading this committee. I'm just piping in now and then to talk about fees and making sure that we can move this forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Mr. Smita had an engagement, so he had to leave. So if we want to move on to...
Oh, he did mention he will send his PowerPoint presentation by the end of the week to you.
Thank you. So shall we move on to Recreation Division report? Or does somebody
Do
have
we have a motion in there?
Angela's?
1 second,
Okay.
excuse me.
We would recommend to the City Council for the adoption. Wouldn't that be an action item?
Yeah, Dennis is pointing out that on recommendation to 6A is that the commission accept and review and make the recommendation to the council to adopt the leisure needs assessment. So it'll go to leisure needs assessment.
So we need to
We'll
make a
go to the
motion.
council next, so we need a
But
motion.
wait, hold on. I have a question. So if we have any modifications to it, does that matter, or? Does it?
I mean, as long as it doesn't change the substance of the report. I mean, if there's things that you want to include, if you want to talk a little bit more about art, or if you want to talk a little bit more about outreach, those are fine, because those are concepts within the report, so I don't think there'd be any issue there.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a motion?
Would you like me to? Okay. I'll make a motion that the Recreation and Parks Commission recommend to the City Council the adoption of the final leisure needs and public arts plan as reference document for future recreation and cultural planning efforts as discussed with Art.
And I second.
Excellent. Okay.
And you'll need a roll call for this one, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Godino?
Aye.
And Chair Carey?
Aye.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. Moving on, as we mentioned, Mr. Smeda had to leave.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Assistant Director Oslin is also out. Her father passed away this weekend.
I'm sorry.
So she's up in Oregon for a few days on handling that. Rec Division report, Mr. Smitherman can give his quick report.
Quick report, I also have just two things to touch base about on Parks report as well. Thank you, Mr. Christian, for getting these to me today. There has been 45 dead trees removed from citywide parks along with the stumps. Many of these trees have had issues due to the changing weather patterns. 6 of the trees, really important that you hear this, were Tree of Lives. So they were memorial trees. Please note that if you do get comments, they are going to be replanted back in the same location here in the next quarter. So Scott asked me to let you know in case you do get those complaints. And he wanted to let you know that the special district has 2 new large landscape areas, so special district landscape areas. Betaravia Plaza by the police department and Centennial Gardens on West Battles, south across from the new sports complex. In addition, my favorite, to the new dog park that's under construction. It has started and it's in the Carmen Triangle open space. We'll be getting you some more updates on that, of course. It's a pet project, but I also want to be sure that we thank our vendor who donated a few pieces of outdoor exercise equipment for dogs for that park. So I'll be keeping you updated on that as well. So for the rec division, real quick, because Alex told me to, I would like to introduce you to Cynthia Rodriguez, who just left.
Yeah.
Hopefully you saw her sitting next to Jody. Cynthia's new to our department. She has quite an experience in working with seniors, and she'll be taking over our senior programming at Elwyn Muscle Senior Center and beyond. Cynthia, like I said, has great experience, has been with us about a week now, went through 2 weeks now, went through the 4th of July with us, and with smiles the whole time. And was just happy to be out there, and so that was great. Also, the 4th of July was an amazing event. It was probably the best I've seen in running these events and working with the staff to run these events. Great turnout. I'm going to try to get the cell phone data from that event, but right now we're approximating 2,500 to 3,000 people. Wow. Great band. Everyone was just having a really good time. And I can't believe the amount of comments we've got. And I know that's not a survey or anything official, but and anecdotal evidence is probably one of the most powerful things we live off here at Rec and Parks. So just the comments were so positive. I don't think I did not receive a single negative complaint other than, oh, I wish you guys were doing a drone show, or I wish you had fireworks again. So, but the 4 hours we were there, it was just a great event, and everyone did a great job working together to make it happen. So thank you, everybody. We're well underway for summer programming. Our swimming pool is full all the time.
Okay.
We're averaging 150 youth for recreation swim in the afternoon. So if you come by in the afternoon, it's a little crazy, but fun. They're having a summer, hopefully, to build these memories that'll last a lifetime. And our summer staff is really doing a great job keeping up with all those kids. So if you guys ever want to come by, just let me know. I'm happy to walk you over to the pool and you can check things out. Jeanette Blanco, who is not here with us right now, since Jason has retired, has taken over as interim supervisor for the youth center and teen programming. She also took with her the youth programming that when she worked with Stephanie, they handled on that side of the house. So Jeanette not only is she amazing at it, it's a good balance between programming for the 3 supervisors. Jeanette has hit the ground running and hasn't stopped and is making a list every time she sees me to ask me about this, this, and this, and can we do this, and can we do this. So, you know, it'll be, this next budget year will be a little challenge. I don't know which is going to be worse, not having money or her asking me why we can't do it. But she is just excited, and we just know that she'll do an amazing job. She has had a great teacher, and I know Rudy and Stephanie support her 100%. So we're excited that she's in this role and look forward to good things from her as well. So thank you, Alex. Short enough.
You were a little
bit.
airy there, but no, again, I think the staff did a great job on the 4th of July. You know, I think the community really is, that's an example, I think, of the community is really, you know, wanting those kinds of events where you can go for free and roam around. And if you needed to spend money on food, you could, but you didn't have to. And the entertainment was free. And I think those are things that we want to focus on as you know, stated in the study. I do think one comment that I have on the items that Dennis brought up is whatever it is we're doing programmatically, and the staff that's here, you know, the leisure needs assessment is what our community is telling us that they want and they want to see us work on. So that should kind of be your foundation for any programming that you all plan to do, is to, you know, refer to the leisure needs assessment. I think it's an important tool, and we invested, you know, significant dollars in it every 5 years to get that information. The only item I have on my section of the agenda today is we've talked about this before, but placing so the dedication for the DeJoy Pocket Park is scheduled for the 22nd of July. Oh, okay, good. And at that, we plan to have a mock plaque, but a plaque up for the dedication. And on that plaque, we're just going to make a notation that our former city manager, Jason Stillwell, was really kind of instrumental in pulling the funding together through the ARPA program to fund the 2 pocket parks. And initially, the design was for 4 pocket parks for a total cost of almost $2 million. So the fact that we were able to get the 2 pocket parks that are done, I think was a big milestone, and we want to thank Jason for that by putting it on the plaque. Okay. So it'll be a small statement on the plaque recognizing our current council members and staff that typically are found on the project, and commissioners. So your name will be embedded in history out there. So that was it. I just wanted to be sure that we didn't have any feedback on that. And move on from there to next items, which is your reports.
Commissioner items, official business conducted by a commissioner. Who wants to go first?
No, officially I haven't done anything, but unofficially I've done a lot. So I actually volunteer at St. John Newman Church, and this weekend was they sell food for the community, for the parish. But there was a lot of feedback from the 4th of July event. A lot of people that said it was surprising to them that it was free, and they just showed up and they just went in, and the kids were like so excited, and so there was a lot of feedback on that, and they were super happy about it. They thought they had to pay a fee to go in. They were already ready, you know, but they're like, oh, we use that for food. But they were really, really happy, and being that I'm there, St. John Newman Church has masses from 7 to 7, so it's every 2 hours. They have a mass, and the majority is Hispanic. So for the Hispanic community to tell me that they went to that event, you know, I was excited. I'm like, yay, you know, we're reaching them. So for that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Excellent.
Just to tag on to that, I do want to say that the marketing efforts, especially in social media platforms, have been amazing. Has been amazing. Yes, thank you, Karen. It's you know, I repost a lot of the things through the school social media and my personal social media, but a lot of people, you can see the feedback that we get just based on the marketing efforts and the social media and everywhere else, and especially that they're translated in English and Spanish. bonus. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good. It was a quick, easy month. On June 11th, I went to the ribbon cutting at the Santa Maria Valley Railroad, which was shockingly cool. And I don't know, I didn't know anything about it. And we got this new engine car. Yeah, but the history is amazing to know about it. It actually is the family that held it for many, many generations, actually 3, I think, but have sold it. But it's still going to be here, and it's just this remarkable train that's going to be running, and it's supposed to be bringing jobs to the community and a few other things. But it was like this great lunch, and it was like everybody. It was a fun day. It was a really surprisingly fun. But that's what I got to do. Because Mayor Patino was going in, it was just, had a great day. But what's the other thing? The city council meeting to speak on behalf of the commission, of them voting for the commission to approve the fees for recreation programs. That was it. That was all. But what I would like is a list of I know several months ago, I think you mentioned where the summer programs were going to be, which parks. And usually, actually, Mayor Patino and I every year go around and drive to everyone. And it's just kind of fun to talk to the kids, and I think they appreciate it. So if I could just or if you can send me where they are, and thank you. But if there's nothing else, I'd like to close the meeting. Adjourned. Stephanie.